Well, we've got a whole new lineup for 2026, new topics, new speakers, and I'll just give you the first quarter. How about that as a teaser, January, we have, he's a very popular speaker. You guys love him. We have our favorite gerontologist coming back, a nutritionist, and a special guest, and it entails singing and a musical instrument. That's all I'm going to say. The topic is young at any age, nourished brain, energized body. Obviously, my brain's not nourished yet. And thriving through creativity. It's going to be fun. February, we're bringing back somebody that hasn't spoken for us for about 3 or 4 years. Cannabis 101 for grown-ups. Pain relief, sleep, and more. And by the way, we're not talking about the stuff that makes you high. None of this has anything to do with that. So just, FYI. And then March is navigating the maze, finding the retirement community that fits your life. And, they keep changing. There's different options. Things in the industry have changed. And I think what I'm hoping is that we're going to have more interaction from you today. So I'm sure you have questions. Maybe you want to share something. So we'll be open to that. So I'll try to stop a few minutes earlier than normal. We'll do our regular raffle prize giveaway. We actually have 3 prizes today. And have you fill out your evaluations, and then we'll get to your questions at the end. So without further ado, we have 2 amazing, lovely humans here that are coming from different places and to address this topic. So the topic is love has no age, dating, intimacy, and connection. We'll try to keep it PG-13, see where things go. First, we will ask our speakers to introduce themselves. So, Maria, who are you? What do you do? What did you used to do?
Hi, guys. Thank you for coming today. I'm going to start by saying that I'm going to want us all to be best friends today. What we talk about in this room stays in this room, so no worries. There's nobody listening, okay? And I'm going to take the taboo out of a lot of conversations today. First of all, I am one of the directors for sales at Byron Park. So I help families find the best peace of mind for their loved ones. We have independent living and assisted living, and we live a beautiful life. If you have questions after, I'll be there for you. For the past 20 years before that, though, I used to be a high-end matchmaker. So I worked for a high-end matchmaking company. I was a certified dating coach, certified life coach, and certified matchmaker by the Matchmaking Institute in New York. So I will be your expert today, and I hope you come out of your shell and ask your questions, because that's why we're here for it.
Nice. I mean, who knew we had people like this in our midst? This is amazing. Amazing. Angela's back. And who are you and what do you do? What did you do, I guess, before? How did you get into finance?
Oh, it's the only thing I've ever done, actually. When I was a teenager, I decided I wanted to be a financial planner. So I studied it in college, and I've been doing it for 24 years. I launched my own firm in 2024 called Right Wealth Management in Walnut Creek. And we do full service financial planning, investment management, tax planning, and estate planning. I'm going to let Maria do a lot of talking today because when Dana asked me to speak, I thought, am I really qualified to speak on this topic? The thing is, I've witnessed a number of clients through the years fall victim to financial abuse in their dating life. And so I'll be covering that today, but also coming from the perspective of somebody who found herself divorced in middle age and is now dating a widower. And there's some unique things that I've picked up through the years. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the romance side, the finance side, and maybe some things in between. How about that? So we're going to start with a question for Maria, which is, what are some of the unique advantages that come along with dating and forming relationships later in life?
Absolutely, Dana. That's a great question. So these are the obvious, but you guys never think about it this way. But Now you have the time. You are retired. You don't need to worry about raising 2 kids, running to work, doing the laundry, figuring out. So at this point in time, you are emotionally mature. You know what you want. You know what you don't want from a partner. So it couldn't be better than now to find somebody to your liking. Also, there are a lot of studies that recently are suggesting that your emotional and mental health are going to improve tremendously when you have a companion, when you have a life partner, when you have a best friend.
I love that. I love that. So can you walk us through, Maria, the most popular and senior-friendly dating platform apps and share some tips for creating an authentic, safe profile?
Absolutely. So she said safe, right? So safe is our number one concern, being safe, safety, right? So first of all, there are a few websites that are designated specifically for people your age, so seniors. And the main ones are Silver Singles, Our Time, and Senior Match, okay? So now for the ones of you that are computer savvy, this is going to be a piece of cake. For the ones that are not, maybe you get your favorite granddaughter on board and they can help you out with it. But the idea is, in order to be safe, I'm going to want you to pretty much not disclose too much information about yourself on that profile, okay? So think about maybe putting your middle name in there instead of your first name. Please do not enter your real date of birth in there. Do not mention the city you live in and things like that. So we're trying to find love, but be safe at it, okay? So I feel that those are going to be the best ways.
Okay. Anything else you want to add for safety on that, as far as apps? No? Okay. 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 All right. Beyond dating apps, what are some effective ways for we retirees to meet potential companions who share similar interests and values?
You're actually doing it right now. You're here in a group setting. So look to your right, look to your left, see what's happening. Maybe you like what you see, right? So
Should we do a speed dating session right after that?
Absolutely. So, but I'm serious. So look into your community and see in your city or around what are the seminars going on. So obviously Dana is number one in this area. She has the most amazing educational seminars, but I'm sure there are other things that you can join. There are groups online as well. So there are certain websites where you could find a group for playing mahjong together, or a group for bridge, or a group for playing tennis. So just look into those things and put yourself out there. You never know what you're going to find.
There's a lot of classes through, adult education, right? Our community centers, pickleball. Gosh, there's like a group for everything. And I don't know if are meetups still a thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Meetups. Who knows about meetups online? Oh, very few people. Yeah. It's literally, I don't even know what it is, but it's...
I do. I've used it. It's a website called meetup.com, and it's designed to bring people with similar interests together. It's not a dating app. I used it to join a hiking group and made some great friends in the process.
That's what I did it for, hiking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to go hiking one weekend. I couldn't find any of my buddies, my friends, my husband. Nobody wanted to hike with me. And so I went to a meetup and hiked with a bunch of, local people. It was great. It was really fun. Okay. Were you going to add something about other things to look for or other places to go to meet people?
What do I have? No.
I don't know. No. Don't go to a bar.
I think it's really important to, whenever you find yourself on your own and without a partner, to dive into yourself and think about what fulfills you and makes you happy and get out and do those things. I found my current partner out dancing, literally bumped into me on the dance floor. And I hesitated to go out that night because I was on my own and I thought, oh, this is awkward. But the truth is, the more we do the things that make us happy, we're happier. Must have been a light that night, smiling and dancing, and so was he. And so we naturally fell in together.
I mean, even walking your dog. If you have a dog.
The dog park on Friday afternoon.
Oh my gosh. I mean, everyone will talk to you if you have a dog.
So for the ones of you that don't have dogs, now is the time.
Time to go buy a dog. There you go. Perfect. Okay. And do you think women, Maria, are scammed more often than men?
So that's going to be a really big subject today because the internet is full of scammers nowadays. So you want to make sure you have the education to protect yourself, okay? And I feel that it's 50-50. Really? There are people out there that scam both men and women. So you have to look out for that, and we'll discuss more signs of that.
Well, so we're going to ask Angela about financial red flags that seniors and boomers and everyone in between should watch for, really anyone at any age, if you think about it.
Yeah.
When connecting with someone new, both online and in person.
Yeah. So with the advent of dating apps, a whole new genre of criminals emerged to take advantage of people who were looking for love. So we'll start by talking about when you're first on the dating apps, how to avoid some of these financial scams. And then we'll get into when you have a real partnership with somebody, and a little bit later, how to protect yourself, in that case. So I think the biggest red flag when you're speaking to somebody new, especially if you met them online, is avoidance of meeting in person. Avoidance of meeting in person. They don't want to FaceTime, they're out of town, traveling for work, just had an injury. They often will only want to communicate online. And the next red flag there is if they want to move the conversation away from the dating app and onto WhatsApp or any other communication. But WhatsApp in particular, do we know what WhatsApp is? Couple. So it is an application you can download on your phone that allows you to text message anybody in the world across any device. It used to be a lot harder to just send a text message to somebody in London. Right? With WhatsApp, it's just an app you put on your phone. It goes through your phone number, but it uses the internet to send the text message. So it's a little bit harder to track somebody through WhatsApp, but more importantly, if someone asks you to go to WhatsApp, they're likely not in this country. They want to text with you. And a lot of the apps have some built-in safety features. They're monitoring your messaging. They're looking for scammers. WhatsApp does not have that safety feature, so they can start saying whatever they want to you. And often it looks like, you're starting to talk to somebody and then they have a big emergency of some kind. Oh my gosh, I missed my flight from Spain and I need to get home. Could you wire me that money? I'm sorry, I ran out of cash. Or I think this is more common with younger folks, but cryptocurrency or investment scams. I can't tell you the number of men that had reached out to me on a dating app to ask me if I wanted to invest in cryptocurrency. And I said, wrong lady, I'm a financial planner. So if anybody ever starts talking to you about, hey, oh, you're not doing crypto? I've made tons of money this year. Let's look into it together. They're about to scam you. Next thing would be love bombing. You know what this term means? It's excessive, displays of love way too early in the relationship. It's declarations, it's overtures, gifts, and I want to take you away for the weekend, and I can't believe I waited my whole life, and I found you, and it's been 1 week, and I'm so in love with you. That is love bombing. And there's really it's a tactic to manipulate your emotions and rush the relationship, right? Okay, so also when you're online dating, you're looking for inconsistent or very vague profiles. If somebody hasn't completed, all of the questionnaires, or if the pictures seem off, or no pictures of their face, poor grammar, in the writing, that's a sign something's off. Just like, we used to receive those emails from the Nigerian princes. Think like that, right? If the writing seems off, it's probably a fake profile. Finally, I think anytime somebody early on pressures you to share some personal information, like Maria said, don't even use your first name. I live in the Bay Area, not Lafayette. And so when somebody starts asking you some kind of questions like, oh, what's your middle, what's your last name, where do you live? I would take that as a major red flag. Instead, they should be asking you about your values, your hobbies, your desires, what you're looking for in a partner. That's where the conversation should be going. What do you have to add?
So I'm going to piggyback on that, and I'm going to give you a few ways in which they try to scam you. And again, it doesn't matter if you are a woman or a man. The story goes similar. So there are some trends in the scamming industry because this is becoming an industry at this point. So you're going to be approached by somebody that says they're a doctor, somebody that says, obviously, they're a model for the men, right? A businessman or military. So I'm John, I'm an American colonel, and I'm now in Afghanistan. They didn't pay me yet, but I'm so in love with you, and I'm going to want to ask you to pay for my flight to come home and see you for Christmas. So they're going to tell you they are a businessman somewhere in Dubai, and they are stuck at the embassy, something happened, their passport is not there. So I want you to remember my words because these things will come. So you hang up, you close that conversation, you block that person, you never speak to them again no matter what, okay? And then I'm gonna give you some tips on actually meeting somebody, the steps of meeting somebody, right? Instead of being scammed on WhatsApp or other application, I suggest once you feel like you hit it off with somebody in writing, go straight to a phone call and say hi, hear their voice, see what it is. Another thing that is widespread right now is that these scammers are in a foreign country and they have an accent. I'm not saying all people with an accent are bad. I'm not telling you that. I'm just saying that if you hear an accent, be extra careful. Also, just watch on your phone, see where the phone number is coming from, because most likely it's going to be an international number. Okay? But they're going to say, oh, no, I live in Walnut Creek, but they have an accent. And they say, no, I was born here. No, you weren't. So that's one of the things. But I suggest have a conversation on the phone, pretty short, just to figure out, and then suggest a meeting in public at the coffee shop. You go, you sit down, you talk, you figure out what's happening, but that's the fastest and best way to actually meet somebody face to face, see that they're local, and we take it from there.
And
I will even give you a secret. When I was set up with my husband of 33 years, a girlfriend who set us up came with me. Mm-hmm. And she said, now, if you feel comfortable and you like him, and we did all that. We talked on the phone first, whatever. And she said, if you like him, you'll be on your own. Give me the high sign and I'll leave. But if you don't, or you don't feel comfortable, whatever, then we'll just leave together. I thought that was really smart of her.
It was.
She was being very protective of me. But I gave her the high sign. I think I like this guy. So that worked out okay.
Can I add something to
Angela,
this?
you wanted to jump in?
Yeah, I would just say, if you're going on a first date or, early on dating any date, tell somebody that you're going, a friend, a kid, a grandkid, where are you going, everything you know about the person that you're meeting. You might even send a photo of the person that you're meeting to, just in case they have information. I would also, if you know how to do this, or you already maybe share your location with somebody else, iPhone, it's really easy to share your location with your kids or what have you. So that's a great way to protect yourself. Maybe you're at the coffee shop and you really like them. They say, let's go for a drive, and then something awful happens. So let people track you down.
I have one last thing about this. Just also know when it comes to the scammers online, they have this thing where they immediately send you pictures of themselves, but also their ID. Because in their minds, they know they're scamming. They want you to trust them. So when you see an ID that comes from California, you're going to say, oh my God, yes, he's local. But that's not true. That's the previous person they scammed, and they love bombed, and they got their pictures with the actual pictures and the ID pictures. So they're just scamming you with somebody else's pictures. So if you see somebody sending you an ID, that's a red flag. You didn't ask for it, no reason for it. You shut it down, you block it. Yeah?
I'm learning all sorts of stuff here.
I feel like this is, such a heavy cloud about online dating. There are many wonderful people just like you online, looking for love, but it does pay to keep your eyes open.
No, this is good. I mean, because I think we know the positive potentials, right? Yeah. I think. So how does somebody who's widowed or divorced, or even maybe like one of my best friends never married until she was 52, that was her first marriage, how do we know when we're emotionally ready to start dating again?
That's a very good question, and I'm sure most of you have it on your mind. So there are a couple of things. It all depends. If you are a widow or a widower, you're going to know because you're going to start missing companionship, right? You're going to maybe see a couple down the street holding hands, right? You're going to smile. You're going to think, oh my, I wish I had that in my life again. But the way you know, first of all, listen to your gut instinct. It's coming from here, and it's the most important thing you have. So if your gut instinct is telling you it's time to start looking, just do it. That's it. You have nothing to lose. However, as a widow or a widower, the moment you stop thinking of the past relationship with sadness, then you may be ready for the next step and for a relationship. For the people that have been divorced for a while, the moment you stop constantly talking about your past relationship, about your ex-husband, ex-wife, that's the right time to maybe start looking for love.
Interesting, yeah. I think you either have to get over the sadness, or if you're divorced, get over the anger, because you can't carry that into a new relationship,
True.
right?
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
When I started dating a widower, I asked, are you ready? And how do you know you're ready? Because I'm looking for a relationship, and I don't want to be your rebound. And he said, she had cancer, and I cared for her for years. I just thought, if I live in this sadness and in my grief forever, then I died right along with her. And what a waste of my life. And she would agree with me. And I said, sold. Let's go on a second date.
Yeah.
That's very deep and very insightful of him.
Yeah.
Really.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, Maria, what advice do you have for navigating conversations with adult children about dating or entering a new relationship? I can imagine some of you, if you're thinking of embarking on the dating game, I can just imagine what your adult kids might be saying. And I'll use my own father as an example. When my grandma passed away, he used to be Papa that walked around in jean overalls out in the garden, harvesting the walnuts. They had a huge lot in Alamo, and he was out gardening. And Grandma passed away. He moved to Rossmore. All of a sudden, he's this man wearing plaid polyester sport coats and taking bus trips to Reno to gamble. and then he got casseroled. He got casseroled by all the women. And then he took up with a lovely red-headed woman, and my dad was just having a fit. And he said, Dad, he was calling his dad, my grandpa, Dad, you old fool. You're just acting like an old fool. So that's not right. He was putting his own sadness or whatever on Papa as opposed to thinking about his happiness. So that's why I'm saying I can just imagine what some of your adult children might say or think. Hopefully they'd be supportive of you, wanting you to be happy and following your bliss and having partnership and companionship. But I just had to share that because I was shocked, really, at my own father.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So that's not necessarily an easy conversation, but it's not hard either. So you've got to be confident and approach it up front and explain to your children you feel ready for companionship or friendship or a romantic relationship. Ask for their support, right? Because they'll help you stay safe. Like we talked about, the favorite granddaughter is going to look into your profile. Your daughter or son should know where you are when you're going on dates, things like that. So, but have these conversations. Most of the time, your children have two concerns when they hear you're ready to start dating: inheritance, and you're going to also have the safety issue. So asking them to come on board with you, help you be safe, will set that one at ease. With the other subject, good luck to you.
Okay. And so how do we clearly communicate to someone that we're seeking, that we clarify, do we want romantic partnership, or do we just simply want companionship or friendship, someone to go to the movies with? How do we bring that up?
Sure. Same thing. Be honest. Be upfront. Use the right words. And be very clear. I only want a friend to travel with. I want intimacy and a romantic relationship. I only want companionship for beautiful dinners and going to the theater. So be very clear, and also be very clear with your expectations. That's very important.
I think sometimes, I certainly do, I get a little nervous about putting what I want out there, for fear that somebody is going to judge me or not talk to me because I'm only looking for a certain thing. And I think the right person, will see that and latch onto it, and to hell with everybody else.
Yeah. I like that. How often do we see love blossom in retirement communities?
Oh, very often, actually, right? Because you're used to living in your own home. Maybe your social interactions are not what they used to be. You have a couple of best friends that you play mahjong with, but that's about it. But once you come into a community, there are so many wonderful activities that will allow you to start getting to know somebody, right? A partner for bridge or a partner in your writing group will allow for things to blossom. So at Byron Park, where I work, we have a lot of new couples, and we are very, very happy to see them because they look extremely happy. So it's just beautiful to see that.
Yeah. I was telling Maria, I have helped a lot of people move into senior living communities, and I'll see them once they initially move in. They want me to see their new place, and then I might be at that community visiting somebody else that maybe is getting ready to move in or what have you, and I walk by and there they are on the couch holding hands with someone new and perfectly happy. I saw a gentleman named Tim. He actually had moved to Byron Park, and he was so sad about his wife, and his wife had passed away like 20 years prior, but still had her voice on the message machine when I would call. Yeah, really sad. So I went by Byron Park, seeing someone else. It was about 6 months later, and there he is on the couch, seriously, holding hands in front of the fire. And I said, well, hello. He turned bright red. It was so cute. It was so cute, and he was so happy. It was really cute.
I'm going to tell you guys a little story. So at Byron Park, we recently had a proper senior ball. It was amazing. And people came down, dressed up. We had a beautiful band, and we were ready to party. But we were ready with the flowers, right, for the ladies and everything ready. And we started seeing people coming out of the elevator holding hands. That was the most beautiful thing for the evening, actually. Yeah.
Well, and you were telling us how one lady had connected with somebody that you didn't see them, you assumed that they wouldn't be a good match, but yeah, they were.
Yep.
Because they found things in common, right?
Yeah.
All right, Angela. When you're getting serious, now you're getting serious with somebody, what are the warning signs of financial exploitation or scams? Now, we've kind of talked about that specifically target older adults. Is there anything we want to add to that?
Yeah, I have a lot here.
Okay.
Once you're in a relationship with somebody, now they have access to you and your financial life a little bit more. So the scam changes. It's not about getting you to send them money. They will just take it from you. I have seen this so many times. I'll just do a couple stories. I had one grandson call me one day and say, I don't know what to do. I just found out that my granddad changed the deed to his home to put his housekeeper as payable on death. Thank goodness, grandson found the copy of the quitclaim deed and marched it into my office, and we were able to rectify that before his grandfather passed away. Housekeeper was fired, obviously. I had another client whose daughter came in and said, my dad's checking account is drained. Like suddenly he had $80,000 in there a couple of years ago and he doesn't spend that much. Turns out his girlfriend who had moved into him was cutting checks to herself out of his checkbook and forging his signature, just kind of draining, the accounts. So I think, the way to protect yourself here, get a handle of your own finances, especially if you are not the financial planner in the relationship. Sometimes it's really hard to take that over anew and learn a whole new skill. And so specifically, watching your bank and credit card transactions. You can either log into the bank to do this, or you can use a tool. I really like monarchmoney.com. Monarch, like the butterfly. It's, you enter your your credit card and your bank logins, it's all secure, and it feeds in, it just takes all those transactions into one feed for you. So I would say maybe designate a money day in your life. Every Monday morning for 20 minutes, or I have a client that does it on the 23rd of the month. It's money day. I don't know why that day. And they just open up their Monarch Money and they go through their transactions. Knowing your own finances makes it really obvious when something's amiss. What is that transaction? I wasn't at Macy's yesterday. What? Let's see, what else do we have? Unexplained withdrawals. Oh, if you're in a new relationship and they suddenly become over-involved in your finances. Honey, I know you weren't the one to handle this before, so let me just take it on for you. I'll do you a favor. It'll be great. They're coming with you to meetings with a CPA and your financial planner. I can't tell you, 2 or 3 times, suddenly a new partner's in the meeting after 15 years with a client. And I'm like, who are you? And they have all these opinions about what we should be doing. Right? A huge red flag for me. If you're feeling pressured about talking about money, obvious red flag, or if you feel nervous about sharing about your own financial situation. What Maria was saying about trust your gut. If you feel a block in talking to somebody, that's a red flag. Something's amiss there. In healthy relationships, we can share these things with each other. Maybe they don't need to know everything. Maybe you're going to keep your finances separate at this stage. But some sort of conversation about what's going on in your financial life is healthy. Let's see. If you suddenly find yourself uncharacteristically generous, I'm in love, the world is rosy, let's donate here, let's travel. You know what, I'll do that first class upgrade, why not? If your own behavior has changed, that's a red flag too. I think if you're not one to log in and look at your finances, you might want to designate somebody to do that for you, a kid, a trusted friend, or I do this for clients sometimes, right? Just take a look at my bank once a month, make sure there's nothing amiss there. Having a second set of eyes on that is super helpful. We'll catch things that you don't sometimes. Obvious this one here, but if anybody ever asks you to update your legal documents, don't do it. Just say no and run, right? But there's no reason that you should be updating your legal documents when, your boyfriend moves in. Like, we're not there yet, if we're ever going to get there. So, right, don't do that. I think finally, there's this idea of trust but verify. It is okay. Let's say you're really, truly in love with somebody. It's been a couple of years. You want to move in together or something like that, right? You trust what they say, but now you're going to ask to see a statement of some kind. Let's just kind of lay out what's going on with our finances here. What's your credit score? You have a report I can look at? I'm not kidding. I know it sounds ridiculous, and I think many folks in this room were raised, that talking about money is impolite, money in politics. We don't bring it up. I think it's impolite not to talk about money because it is a huge driving force in the quality of our lives and our own peace of mind. You have to know what's going on with your partner, and you have to feel safe in your own finances with your partner. Let's see if I have anything else. If something feels off, talk to somebody, right? Talk to your planner, your CPA, a kid. Trust that instinct. I can't speak for men, but I know a lot of women who don't trust their instincts. Oh, I'm just being a nervous Nelly. Trust those instincts. They're super important. I think that's all I have on the topic. You got anything to add?
That's good. That's a lot.
Yeah, sorry.
Wow. Okay, now we're going to get a little juicy here, so.
You better close that door.
Close the door.
There's a camera.
Just us chickens here. Maria, can you discuss how couples can approach topics like intimacy, physical limitations, and health concerns with openness and confidence?
Absolutely. So I was telling you earlier that we're going to take the taboo out of this conversation, and I want you to think of these conversations as normal. Once you start liking somebody, it's normal that you want to get into the intimacy conversation, right? Just be upfront, be open and honest, disclose limitations and boundaries. And if you need to have a talk with your doctor together, that's not the problem, right? Because we want to do some testing, make sure we're both healthy from all standpoints. Once you do that, it's going to become more and more comfortable to get deeper into these conversations. But just don't be afraid to have this conversation. Nothing to be afraid of, nothing embarrassing about it. You are adults that are going to have a beautiful life, but let's make sure we do it right.
I once heard that in senior communities, there's kind of an issue with STDs. Is that true? And do we really need to be thinking about that?
So not necessarily. We haven't had that happen at Byron Park so far. But the STD conversation is a big conversation to have, like I was saying. It's better to maybe make appointments. If somebody respects you and loves you, they're going to have no problem making an appointment, going to see their doctor, figuring out if they have any kind of issues. You can do the same. You reconvene and talk about it. What happened? Well, here's what my doctor said. Here's what my doctor said. The most important thing about this is, though, we're not only talking about sex here. Intimacy has a lot of forms and shapes, right? We can have meaningful conversations that are intimate. We can hold hands and walk the reservoir at Lafayette. That could be intimate as well. So let's not focus necessarily on limitations. Let's just take the journey one step at a time and see where it's taking us.
I love it. You guys are awesome.
I think, one little bit of advice from the 44-year-old over here. Sometimes I feel nervous having these conversations. I have a hard time getting the words out, if you could believe that. I write it down. And I think for my partner, that helps him too, because he doesn't like a long monologue about what's going on. He's kind of a typical man. He wants some bullet points. So it helps us both get through a difficult conversation. And I might suggest trying it if you struggle to.
Nice. I like that. Write it down. It's cheating, but it's not. It's a good way to introduce a subject, right? Or a conversation. I like that. Angela, what legal financial considerations, such as estate planning, Social Security benefits, or even prenuptial agreements, should we discuss before committing to a serious relationship?
Yeah, so as Social Security recipients, marrying somebody could really throw things aside for you. Let's say you you divorced, let's say, 20 years ago, and you've been single this whole time, and now you're 67. You can take your ex-spouse's Social Security benefits. You get half, just like as if you were still married. It does not impact their Social Security. They don't even know you did it. But you're entitled to that as the spouse. If you remarry, you lose that benefit. So you're going to want to do an analysis of your finances and see, does it make sense for me to marry this person? Or do I need to stay on this other Social Security benefit? Or does marrying somebody increase both of your taxes so much, like, you know, your combined tax return increases so much that now we're dealing with IRMA on our Medicare. We're paying an additional Medicare premium. Sometimes combining your life can do that to you. And so I think it's a really wise idea. If you're thinking specifically about marriage, talk to your attorney, talk to the CPA and the financial planner. Get your CPA to run scenarios on what does this actually look like for us. So romantic, I know, but this is life.
Necessary.
You have to deal with it. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
If you're talking about Social Security, you might also want to talk about survivor benefits.
Yes, thank you. Totally on my list and I missed it. But yes, if you are receiving survivor benefits, your spouse was the chief of police and they passed away and you're now receiving their pension, you could lose that if you remarry. Similarly, if somebody else, your new partner, is going to receive a pension that can include a spouse, you could receive that pension if you marry that person. That's kind of a common late in life marriage, actually. I want those pension benefits. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think
so
there's
we,
one
we've
more-
got
yeah.
the okay. So if you want to marry,
Yeah.
anything else on that?
Yeah, I would just say really discuss health care and long-term care plans. The last thing I want to see is somebody get into a marriage and now they're a nurse because their partner didn't have any plans for their long-term care. It's probably not what you were after. So discuss it. Do you want to stay in home or do you want to go out? Do you have the funds or not? Right? Just know what you're getting into before you do it.
And Maria, what if somebody doesn't want to get married again, but still wants to have a meaningful relationship?
Absolutely. So I'll be the devil's advocate, right? Why get married? You had your children. You have your investments. You have your money. You have your home. Why share? He should have his own at this age, right? Or she should have her own at this age. So in my opinion, no reason to make it legal. And obviously, if you do want to live together, then there are options for you to have a beautiful joint account for bills, for fun, for traveling. And what's mine, I keep. What's yours, you keep. This way, the children are not thinking, oh my God, if dad marries her, then she's going to take half of ours if he passes, or things like that, right? No reason to create that. Just set yourself for success. And like I said, a joint account can be magical. That's it.
Simple.
Yeah.
Magic, I love it. Okay, well, Maria, how many new couples successfully blend families? How can new couples blend families? And here's where I see really exciting things and kind of challenging things. Manage holidays and traditions and help grandchildren adjust to a new partner in their loved one's life.
Absolutely. That's a big one. So
Yeah.
I suggest you start slowly. with small groups introductions. Obviously, don't introduce John or Cheryl on Christmas Day. Let's not do that. Let's have conversations before, right? Tell your tribe who this person is ahead of time, and then in a small casual gathering, maybe they can meet him. However, I would say grandkids come after that, right? First, the children. You want to introduce them to your children, and then slowly to the grandchildren, and then let the grandchildren set their own pace with this. Give them the space they need to call this person whatever they want to call him, not necessarily Grandpa John, right? So let them decide and take their time. When it comes to traditions, just make sure you communicate to your children that you're not going to disrespect what you had with your spouse, maybe that passed away, let's just say. Just explain you're not there to do that. And you're going to keep the old traditions in place. You're not there to change old traditions. Maybe you're going to add new ones to the old ones. But children, right, all of a sudden they get scared and afraid what's going to happen. It's not the same. It doesn't feel okay. It's not just us anymore. There's this stranger that may bring his children this year. No, just slowly. Take your time. Also, ask your children to be on board, like I said, from the beginning when you start dating. That's going to make it really easy. Once you meet somebody, they've been there with you from the beginning, holding your hand, your children, right? Your family. And then slowly, once you meet somebody, they're going to be there every step of the way, because I suggest you check in with them and you tell them what's happening and what's going on, how many dates. This way, once we get to that Christmas dinner together, they've already met, they know about him, they've been with you on this journey from the beginning.
I love that. Does anybody watch Man on the Inside with Ted Danson? Did you see the Thanksgiving episode where there's a daughter, Ted Danson has lost his wife, daughter is panicking because he's bringing the new girlfriend to Thanksgiving, and she was going to make mom's pecan pie. And she said, well, I know dad really loves this pie, but is it going to make him sad if I bring mom's pie? Is it going to ruin his new relationship? I mean, this daughter is spinning for days. It's really funny if you haven't seen it. But these are the sorts of things that come up for people around the holidays.
If you haven't seen that movie,
It's a
you need
great
to see
show.
the movie. It's Netflix, right?
Man on the Inside. It's on Netflix.
So
It's a
cute.
great show.
And Ted Danson's great.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we here? Healthy boundaries to establish.
Yes.
About, well, you talked about this a little bit, Angela. Living arrangements, time spent with new partner. And we talked a little bit about, what goes on in a home if you're going to start living together,
Yeah.
et cetera.
Yeah, I think the only thing to add around healthy boundaries, I'm a firm believer in separate assets and doing the joint account, especially at this stage in the game. And it's really easy to do that. You can also, if you don't want to get married, you can get like medical power of attorney so that you can speak on behalf of each other, right? Are you going to live together or apart? Clarify responsibilities inside the home if you're going to be living together. I think this goes for people of all ages, but don't just assume I'm cooking and cleaning, right? You have to have this conversation. Who's going to do what around the house? I think that's it. I mean, just regular check-ins. Once you're living with somebody, I think it's extra important to remember the stories about the lady who was writing checks out of her boyfriend's account, and just really monitor and maintain your finances well.
Well, it's the same thing when you've had a long-term relationship, too. You kind of each know what your thing is at home.
Yeah.
But you've got to have that conversation because, like you said, can you imagine you're madly in love with this person and then they move in and everything's great and they just sit on their butt and expect you to do everything? Excuse my language.
Yeah.
Because maybe that's what their ex did and you never had that conversation. And now you're thinking, oh, great. This is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I don't know.
And I think this one's totally obvious, but if you are going to get married, prenup. Get the prenup. Huge fan of those as a divorced woman. And I just think everybody should have one. It doesn't mean that we will never share assets with each other if we do get divorced, but you get to specify how that might look. You know that phrase, begin with the end in mind? Sometimes we split up. And as mature adults, like, we can recognize that and talk about it. And how do we want that to look if we have to uncouple? It's so great to have that conversation. And I don't think it kills the romance at all. I think it can build intimacy to speak about difficult things like this.
Yeah. Do either of you ever see your clients like speak to counselors or even see a family marriage therapist or counselor before they move forward in this kind of endeavor?
Yes. So when I actually worked as a matchmaker, I had a lot of clients that were seniors, and a lot of them were mentioning that they started a little bit of therapy just to make sure they are in the right state of mind and heart to navigate dating, loving, intimacy again. So that is a great idea if you have that opportunity. Either start conversations with your best friend about it. That could be therapy as well. With your daughter, your son, for the men, right? But also, if you know a good therapist or if you can look for one, that would be really beneficial. It will help with your self-confidence. It will help navigate dating in this day and age.
Well, that was my next question for you. How do we rebuild our confidence, our self-confidence in ourselves after years of not dating, not being in the dating world, right? Or after a loss of a spouse? How do we rebuild that confidence? I just remember even with my dad, when my dad passed away like 25 years ago, my mom lost her oomph. You know, she just lost her oomph.
Yeah, so of course it's not going to be an easy step, but by starting to do things for yourself, it's going to help tremendously. So the first thing I would definitely talk about would be kindness. Be kind to yourself, right? You bring a lot of wisdom and life experience to the table, which is great. And then start doing little things for yourself. Self-care is going to be the most important thing here. So I want you to go get those red nails you've always wanted, okay? I want you to go get that lipstick. And maybe for the man, it's time for a new cologne. 40 years ago, it was a different story, okay? So Nordstrom's is right here, and they can help you find something that will make you feel good inside. So together with getting a massage once in a while, start getting into some activities maybe you had forgotten about. Like I said, start joining some groups, because making friends is the first step, and that will raise your confidence level. And who is better to have a relationship with than a friend, a good friend, right? Yeah.
I love that. Okay, Angela, final words of encouragement or wisdom that you'd like to offer to someone who's hesitant but curious about finding love or companionship in their boomer plus years.
I'm going to speak to the anxiety and the nerves that some people might be feeling around this, and I'm going to read it so I get it right. Our brains often process anxiety and excitement in the same way. Both trigger the release of adrenaline and cortisol, heightening our alertness and physical responses. The key difference isn't in the biology, but in how we interpret what we're feeling, these physical responses. By reframing nervous energy as excitement, we can harness that same surge of energy to feel confidence and positive action. Next time you feel those butterflies, remember, it's your brain preparing you to rise to the occasion.
Oh, absolutely.
Something
yeah, and I have a couple of things for you. I'm going to read as well. So you deserve companionship at any age. There's no expiration on love, okay? So don't think of it like that ever. But you have so much to offer from your life experiences. And wanting connection doesn't diminish your past love or past relationship. It's just a new way. Focus on the journey, not just finding the one. I would say that would be the most important one. Because the journey may have a lot of laughter, a lot of self-discovery along the way. And yeah, we'll get there, but just focus on those little moments. Your happiness matters, and it's never too late. I'm a fan of that. I strongly believe that. So bottom line, dating as a senior comes with unique advantages. You know yourself better, have more freedom, and can be authentic. Take your time, communicate openly, be patient with yourself and others, and remember that your capacity for love and connection doesn't have an expiring date.
I love that. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. We got some great speakers here today. This is amazing. Thank you both so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Okay, we're going to end on a good note.
So yes, I'm going to end with a good note. So I'm going to remind you that all of you most likely came today because you are single and because you are interested in perhaps creating new memories with somebody. So hang around. There's a couple of guys in here, very good looking. Hang around, just have some coffee out there and just ask what's your name, not your full name, okay? What's your name? And let's build on that. But I think this is a phenomenal opportunity because you're all here for the same thing, okay? Good luck.
Thank you,
Good
Maria.
luck. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas. And we'll see you in the new year.